You know, we're taught that success is all about what you have, right? Your resources, your title, your connections. But the true masters of strategy, they're obsessed with something totally different. They don't just study how the powerful win, they study how you survive when you have nothing, and then how you turn the whole game upside down.
Just take a second. Go back to that moment. Can you feel it? That sinking feeling in your chest? That hot flash of injustice when the accusation lands, and you just know it's wrong. I mean, of course it is. Your brain just kicks into overdrive. You start collecting receipts, replaying conversations in your head, building your case piece by piece. You're thinking, I just have to make them see the truth, right? And that right there, that desperate, perfectly natural need to defend yourself, that is the exact moment you start to lose. Okay, so let's really break this down, because it feels so backward, doesn't it? The second you start arguing your case, you've accepted their reality. You've stepped right into the little courtroom they built for you, where they get to be the judge and you're the one on trial. You've just handed them all the power. So look at this. It's like a fork in the road. On one side, you have the trap. Defend, justify, argue. It's all reaction. But the other side, obscure, observe, outlast, that's the real path. It's not about winning the argument. It's about changing the entire game. So, here's the first big move. When that attack comes, your job isn't to fight back. Your job, your only job, is to survive the initial blast. And the way you do that is by becoming a ghost. You make it impossible for them to pin you down. And this is exactly it. This is the sweet spot. You want your opponent to look at you and just feel a little confused. They can't quite get a read on you. They're thinking, they don't seem ambitious, but I can't just write them off either. That little bit of confusion, that's your new foundation. All right, now we get to the really fun part. You're not fighting, you're not running away, you're actually cooperating. Well, kind of, on the surface. Because this is how you start to quietly, subtly, hand all that pressure and panic right back to them. See how this works? You do the job you're asked to do, but you're not cheering for the plan. You're in the room for the discussion, but you don't plant your flag on either side of the hill. And over time, this weird thing starts to happen. Things might get a little chaotic, but when people look for who's to blame, your fingerprints are nowhere to be found. And this is the whole point, because now, who's feeling the heat? They are. The situation isn't as simple as they thought. They start second-guessing themselves. And someone who is panicking, well, there's someone who's about to make a lot of mistakes. I know what you're probably thinking. Waiting? That's just being passive. I have to do something. But in this kind of strategy, waiting is your most powerful weapon. You're not just waiting for things to blow over, you are actively creating a space for your opponent to trip over their own feet. Just let that one sink in. The real win isn't you standing on a chair shouting, "I told you so!" The real win is watching your opponent in front of everybody slowly and methodically take apart their own credibility. Okay, get ready for this, because it's going to feel like the absolute wrong thing to do. But this is the masterstroke. You actually start to help them. You give them the microphone. You push them into the spotlight. Why on earth would you do that? Because a person who's desperate for control will get incredibly careless. Think about it. Because they have to constantly prove they're in charge, they start making bigger and bigger promises. They push their ideas harder and harder. They start taking victory laps before the race is even over. And all of that noise, it's the perfect cover for a huge, fatal misstep. So what's your role in all this? It's simple, really. You dance to their music. You carry out their instructions, but you never ever take responsibility for the song itself. You're the hands, not the head. Every single risk flows right back to the person holding the mic. And then, after all the noise, all the frantic energy and drama from your opponent, it gets quiet. This is the endgame. The big speeches, the forceful arguments, that desperate need to control everything, it all just fades away. The consequences of their mistakes are now impossible to ignore. The problems they created are plain for everyone to see, and there's absolutely no doubt about who owns them. And where are you? You're just there, untouched, calm. While everyone else was running around in a panic, you were the steady one. And in that silence, your calm looks like strength. It looks like wisdom. People just assume you saw this coming all along. You didn't win by fighting. You won because you were the one left standing. So I'll leave you with this thought.
That one thing in your life right now, that situation that's just screaming at you to react, to defend yourself, to jump in and take control. Is it really so urgent? Or is the most powerful move you could possibly make to simply do nothing at all and just wait?
Subscribe for daily wisdom.